My name is Alex Corwin, and today I'm going to teach you how to start your own home garden. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give that many gestures because my arm's in a sling. Um, Personally, there's nothing better than enjoying the fruits, or in this case, the vegetables of my own labor. We all need to eat, and it's obvious how beneficial vegetables are to our health. We all need vegetables, and with a little hard work, we can grow them as well. During the COVID pandemic, my wife and I decided to start our own vegetable garden. It started as a way to pass the time, however, it began working rather well, and got me researching into the topic to learn how to make a better, more productive home garden. Gardening may take some hard work, patience, and time, but it is worth the investment. Today I'm going to discuss how to start the garden, maintaining the garden, and preparing for the next season. So let's start at the beginning. Starting a garden. Like myself, most people will want to start a garden in the spring. It's warm outside, and gardening can be fun and productive outdoor family activity. Though if you want your garden to produce and to be able to use what you grow, first you must find suitable crops for the time of year and your climate. Patty Leander states in a 2011 issue of Texas Gardener, quote, "The first key to successful cultivation is to plant the appropriate season. Root crops will germinate well in warm soil, but flavor and texture will be more satisfying with fewer insect pests when allowed to mature under cool conditions." Root vegetables seem to be the best to start with, as they tend to be low maintenance and can grow all year, even in some of the harsher winter climates. Even though they might not be as good in the summer, they will still grow, and as with onions, they can even have different tastes in the different seasons. Now that the crop has been selected, the next step is getting the soil ready. Before planting anything, it is crucial to prepare the ground so that the crop will have an easy time growing and rooting. Skip Richter states in the 2018 edition of Texas Gardener, quote, "By the time you plant the first seed or transplant in the ground, you are 75% of the way to success or failure." It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that any ground is fertile ground. After all, dirt is dirt. Nothing is further from the truth. If the ground is too hard, the plants will have a difficult time rooting, resulting in a little yield, or it could even result in the plant's death. Also important is to make sure that the soil is healthy. There are microbes and bacteria in the soil that can help grow the plant and even help the plant fight off some of the diseases. When starting a garden, it is important not to cut corners when laying the foundation for the garden. Planting is the easy part. This brings us to maintaining the garden. It's safe to assume that we all know that plants need water. The question is how much. It is important not to over or underwater your garden, as it is a vital source for your crop's health. Luckily, there is a simple test that can be used on everything from a small home garden to a huge garden of an acre or more. As stated by Kranz, Kupers, and Manko, in "A Garden Can Be Anywhere, Creating Beautiful and Bountiful Edible Gardens" in 2019, quote, "Poke your finger straight down and feel the soil 1 to 2 inches beneath the surface. If the soil is constantly moist down 2 inches and even beyond, then the soil has enough water. If the soil feels dry at all in the 2 inches that you stuck your finger down in, it is time to water. And if it is moist, then watering can be skipped for the time being. Be sure, however, to pay attention to the weather as well. If you didn't need to water the previous day, but the next day is very hot, it may be a good idea to check earlier in the day if watering is necessary. Plants will grow larger when cared for properly. The problem is they can grow too large and need to be divided into smaller plants to be allowed to thrive again. There is also a simple way to check if your crop needs to be divided. In the Complete Guide to Companion Planting, Everything You Need to Know to Make Your Garden and Ornamental Plants Thrive, in 2009, it says to watch for the plant dying off and the center will begin to turn brown. When you see this, it is time to divide the plant. When dividing the plant, it is important to replant the roots all the way under the soil. Also try to put more mature plants with other mature plants and be sure to leave plenty of space for them to continue to grow. Remember to fertilize and feed your garden periodically and avoid overwatering. Many crops can benefit from the addition of the plant foods, fertilizers, and compost, though composting can be difficult to maintain in an ordinary home, so plant food and fertilizer can be the best way to go. I have, however, found that coffee grounds and eggshells do help with the plant's nutrition. It is also important to avoid overcrowding. In the beginning of a garden, it is easy to plant small plants too close and to plant too many seeds in one spot. As the garden matures, the plants and seeds grow and need more space. It is possible to transplant larger plants to a spot with more space and it may be necessary to thin sprout seeds that may be overcrowded. Inevitably, the season will change, which brings me to preparation for the next season. It seems most gardeners agree that the time before planting and after harvest are the most crucial times as it pertains to the garden's productivity and health. When the seasons change and the crops have been harvested, which is usually in the fall, it is time to prepare for the cold. It is important to cover the soil to help protect it from frost and the harshness of winter. In warmer places, it is possible to use cover crops like radishes to cover the soil. They will grow low to the soil and help keep it healthy. Though for an average person, this may be a bit much. Jeff Taylor says in Mother Earth News in 1994, quote, "If you garden on a small scale, a few bales of straw, dirty rotten straw is best, a few rolls of black plastic, which is optional, and your trusty compost heap can obviate the need for cover crops. It is also important to remove dead stems from the plants and any debris such as leaves or fallen stems from the ground around the plants." John Creddy states in Flower and Garden in 1999, proper sanitation lessens the chance for disease and discourages rodents from burrowing. The rodents and other harmful insects tend to make a home in the dead leaves and stems of the plants, as it is warm and it protects them from the elements. These insects and rodents grow hungry and will feast on your garden, negating all your hard work. Remember that just because the garden is dormant in the winter doesn't mean it can be neglected. Make sure to maintain soil health and keep the garden as safe as possible from the harsh winter elements. Gardening can be hard, but rewarding and fun to do and learn. Starting a small garden can lead to wanting to expand and learn more about growing your own crops. And today we discussed how to start the garden, how to maintain the garden, and preparing your garden for the next season. Starting the garden can be hard work, but it can be quite rewarding when getting to enjoy your hard work on your dinner plate. Thank you.